Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Art of Being a Powerful Woman. I'm Anastasia here, part of the team here. We want to talk about a little bit about health today, right? So what are the components of being an empowered woman and being an artist in our lives? You know, there's the finances, there's the relationship factor, and then there's our health, right? You know, it's such a tricky topic. And as I sat here, putting together the information for you today, I realized, it's like, what is it that, we're really gonna, I really want to talk about with you? And, are you struggling with your confidence? Not having your health, let's say health, but different parts, right? Some people, some women, they really struggle with their weight. It's like, I'm never going to be good enough. It starts with the programming from when we're very young, right? I've had so many conversations this week with my coaching clients, talking to them and, just going back to the seeds that were planted and planted from our own mothers, planted from our own, society, people in school, experiences that we had where you start looking down and saying, oh, I guess I'm not good enough because I don't, I'm not this size or I'm not this. And then other people, they have serious health challenges that they're working with. They have pain or injuries in their body where it stopped them. And it's funny because, a little bit about me, when I was younger, I was very into sports and stuff. I had a mom that really always told me not to eat stuff because it would make me fat, which I was incredibly angry about later on in life because I realized that she spell casted and planted those seeds. And I really felt like, because I actually wasn't fat. Do you know what I'm talking about? You look back and you say, I wasn't even fat in that picture and I thought I was fat. Well, look at me now, right? I've had that revelation many times over, especially, you grow up, you become a woman, your body's changing all the time. You're constantly comparing yourself to other people. And then, maybe you have children and we all know that that changes the body, the body just changes, right? And there's so many things that society just wants us to subscribe to, but it's like, what would happen if I really decided to engage my body? What would that look like for me? Okay. And so just a little bit about the history of me the last 5 years. So again, there was times where I had gained weight, I was a little overweight when I was pregnant. Of course, people would say things and it's like, wow, it was just really kind of mean, and I was very sensitive to that. And when I look back, I was like, it wasn't, I wasn't that bad, but it was hard for me. And then after I had my kids, I lost the weight and stuff. And then I got to this point where I'm like, wow, it's like, I got to this place and then it was like, can I keep it up? Can I actually keep this up? Because it was that lack of confidence. So even though I might have lost weight, I had that lack of confidence where I couldn't, that self-doubt, and it kept sabotaging me. But I would hold steady. I would hold steady in a place where I wasn't what I would consider super overweight. Somebody else might consider that. But what really happened in the last, I'm going to say the last 4 years, I went through some really significant circumstances. And for me, one of the ways that I would react is that I would definitely look to food for comfort. I would definitely drink alcohol to numb myself. And it really put weight on my body. I also realized I did it because I wasn't feeling safe. And with all of the different things happening, it was really challenging. So I ended up gaining 80 pounds. Okay, which I still have on my body, by the way. And I'm physical. I go out, I walk my dogs, I do certain things, and it was just I was in this place where I couldn't get back, and it's like I might lose some weight, and then it would go bam, and I'd lose some weight, and then go bam, right? And I'm like, this is horrible. And do you know what that did to my confidence? Let me tell you, whatever confidence I had relative to my physical body, gone out the window. And so, I think about this because at the same time, I knew that I was taking all of the energy that I had from my internal workouts. The workouts to show up, when you can't, do what you did before, to keep things the way that they were before. And with our health, it's like we're going to be challenged in our lives sometimes. And it's like, how do I look at this? Because this is our physical body and it's so in our face. And it's like, I could sit there and numb out, but the next day when I had to get up and go to work and I'm putting my pants on, and it was such a trigger for me where I was like, they're so tight. They're so tight. I don't like how this feels. And it's triggering me, but I'm like, I don't even have time to feel my feelings. Okay? And this is where we are, as women, it's like when things happen, we got to feel our feelings, because if we don't, then it's like we're just going to sort of push through, but we have this insecurity, right? And if you're feeling that trigger in your body, it's going to continue to vibrate that to you, and you're going to continue to feel that, those same things coming through. And so anyway, I wanted to talk about this today because it's like, as an energy healer and all that kind of stuff, like, and again, I'm still overweight, but I know, like, I have now become congruent with the things that I really needed to become congruent with, because one of the things I also realized was that I don't want to be skinny to be good enough to fit into society. There's a part of me that was like, I'm done fitting in. I'm done trying to fit in, and I need to go inside. And maybe everything got a little bit nasty for a while, but it had to happen. It had to happen to evoke the things inside of me that needed to change. One of my favorites, I guess this is going to be a favorite story, right? So there was this time, it wasn't that long ago actually, and again, I kind of yo-yoed up, and it was usually after the holidays, because I really enjoy the holidays. I love to sit and eat cookies and all that kind of stuff. And I know that it's going to come into balance now, but anyway, I gained some weight, and like this one client of mine, he came in, and it was this whole thing that went down. But at the end, he's sitting there, you could tell I was talking about something relative to his session, and he was just waiting for me to shut up. And then he was just like, well, I really just wanted to say, if you ever need to talk, there must be something wrong, because every time I see you, you keep putting on all this weight. And when I tell you the pain I felt from that, I was ashamed. It's like I felt like he shamed me, right? And I mean, this was so visceral. Unfortunately, Cindy was there, because I was like, I'm going to lose my fucking mind, because it was so painful. It was so painful to be judged, because it's like, no, that's right. I'm still showing up, and I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for you. I'm not good enough for this fucking society that we live in. I'm done trying. And it was like, where do you even go from here? Because everybody wants to feel healthy. Everybody wants to feel strong in their body. You want to have a sexy body, walking around feeling good and have $1 million? That'd be great. And that's what we're doing here. The Art of Being a Powerful Woman is about having it all, but not doing it from an ego standpoint or a competitive standpoint. It's about going inside and transforming that part of yourself. So it's funny. So after that had happened, it was a little while after that probably, but it really hurt me, and it stuck in my field. And I realized that he was a mirror of what my mother would say, and actually my grandmother, and it came to me. So you see how things are sort of energetically, transposed onto us, and they, with they just don't even know they're doing it. Who in the world would ever say that to I mean, I would, it's so painful, like it's so mean, right? But I realized later that he was I was like, I knew that he was mirroring something to me, and I needed to just figure it out. So what happens is, when we have these experiences in our lives, the vibration comes that we call to us, and then we sort of have it come to us in our vibration. Now, whether you take that and deal with it, like now I would take a circumstance like that, and I would immediately give myself some time as soon as that was possible to then take it to a place to heal myself immediately. And that to me is empowered. That to me is where it's like I can truly come into a place of self-acceptance, not out of dissociative behavior, not out of, sort of creating this whole other facade that I don't care about, not that I care about what people think of me, but because it's really not congruent with who I feel like inside either, right? So, you store the energy, and now you have that vibe in there where you're like, oh, whatever's going on. And I'm using the example of weight because that's been a huge challenge for me. I've been very fortunate. Otherwise, my health has always been pretty substantial. I do take good care of myself. I take vitamins. I always have. There's certain things that I do. I just have this weight on my body. So the energy, so that comes in and into your field. And so what, you'll see me talk about the human energy field, and there's all these different layers, and there's the physical, emotional, mental layers on the very, closest part to your body. And these things are stored. storing them. And the other thing about that is when the body wants to store things, this is actually a really beautiful thing. When you have a lot of toxic energy in your field and you start to gain weight, your body actually does that to keep the toxins away from the organs. So it's actually like, you know, when I learned that, I was like, thank you, body, because I was really, I mean, I've been healing and, you know, interacting with different energies for a long period of time that weren't exactly fun. And I thought that's what it was doing. It was actually keeping the inside of me super healthy so that I can, you know, overcome. So that's just something to think about. So that physical health is there, and then there's the emotional body. So what we do is we push it down, and it's in the emotional body, and it becomes, think about the congestion there, and we're not sorting it out. And then maybe, you know, after a little while you forget about it, and it's like, okay, you know, I forgot about whatever stress happened to me. Okay. But then later on, it's still in the field, right? And the field is a communication device with vibration to your world around you to bring certain things to you, because that's what it does. That's how it communicates. And so what it does is it starts coming up. You're like, oh my God, again, there's a situation, somebody said something or something happened, and you're like, oh my God. And so what if I am like, oh, I put it away and I'm doing my health thing. I'm trying to get more healthy or whatever that looks like for me. And now, yet again, I find another challenge. What happens there is it's a trigger. Now, everything's triggered and you are on the inside trying to deal with this, but you don't know how to deal with this and you're not giving yourself time to feel the emotions. So now it's going to be, you know, creating a non-homeostatic condition in the body, right? Homeostasis was where all the organ systems, all the systems in the body are working in a balanced way. You're sleeping, you're eating, you know, whatever. It's balance, right? And your body likes it when everything's homeostatic. But when all of this stuff starts to go on, and, you know, and being an energy healer for 20 years, it's like I saw it all the time. And there are books like this one, Metaphysical Anatomy, that you can get and look inside and say, if I'm having a physical symptom, I can actually go back and find the questions to say, what is that actually? Where's the path? Like, where did that come from? So now you have this thing, it's barking at you, and it's like, well, I can just disassociate again. And again, over a long period of time, if you decide to do that, you know, it's going to cost. And what does that cost? You know, like I said, there's people that start to develop diseases. And there's women that start to develop diseases. You know, you can look at the statistics and say, wow, you want to change that? Let's change the world. You know, for instance, cancer is resentment and anger. And again, usually it's because you're not honored for being the woman and being the thing that you really were meant to be in your life. And that's a very general, you know, concept, but you can look at that and research it. I mean, you can find this information. What happens is these behaviors, so it's the trigger, then it's the story that comes up, and then there's a behavior that you develop when you don't deal with it, and then that becomes the chronic behavior. That chronic behavior creates the non-homeostatic condition in the body, and then it affects you. And if it's not a physical form, maybe it's anxiety, depression. Who out there suffers from that? Right? And then some people, you know, a physical trainer will be like, oh, just get on the bike, just, and you're like, I am crippled by how I'm feeling. So it really does cost women a whole lot of time when they don't just say, I need to deal with this, and actually having a vehicle to deal with it and people to help you. Okay. You know, we are coaches here. This is what we help people through. There's so many times where you can't see it. You can't see the forest because of the trees, right? It's like we get in our own way. And when we, oh, hi, Cindy. Thank you. Yes. And it's like, you know, I can't tell you how many coaches I've had and how many other people's perspective has been able to change my life, especially because I had so much armoring around me. But it was costing me over time. I was like, I gained an incredible amount of weight. I felt very unattracted. It affected my relationship with my husband. It affected my relationship with myself. I mean, it's like, boy, that was a huge cost. But at the same time, I learned from it. And it also gave me compassion and experience. So So let's see. So now with this chronic behavior, you're creating a lower vibration. And I remember a lot of people, they'll study, like they love essential oils these days. And 20 years ago, I loved essential oils and it wasn't as popular. But, you know, I remember studying them, and each one of the essential oils had, you know, different vibration. And they measured it with a megahertz vibration. And so there were ones that were considered more physical level oils, like I think lavender and, you know, peppermint and, you know, those sort of basic single oils. And then they had ones that were more of like higher vibrational, which would be, you know, emotional or mental, you know, or spiritual like oils. Like frankincense is a very spiritual oil. A lot of people will get that now and they'll put it on, you know, their head where they do meditation and stuff. And it is very powerful. But just like that, you know, the human body in a homeostatic condition is 72 megahertz. And so when that gets lower, right? And I think, because in this book, it was really quite interesting. It was about 42 megahertz where cancer starts to be developed and thrive. So if you look at that, and scientifically that's proven, right? If you start putting things that are healthy inside of your body, the vibration starts to come up, right? And if you know that that's what you're doing, then you can significantly move it in the other direction, step by step, right? So I think did I say 72 megahertz is a healthy body? It's a healthy body. And if you do the things to empower yourself through whatever other vehicle is going, you know, more positively in your life, perhaps, then you can bring those higher vibrations in, right? And it kind of evens things out. And then once you get on the even playing field, now you can really make some decisions. Now you can really say, where do I want to go with this? You know, my other metaphor that I was thinking of earlier was, you know, if you're going to have a pie, make a pie. What's your favorite kind of pie? I would say mine is apple pie. But more recently, I've tried a chocolate cream pie at Thanksgiving, and it was very good, very, very good. But the thing about it is, it takes a lot of components to make that pie. And if your life is the components of those pies, you know, of that pie, right? And you're putting all these things together, and then you're going to put it in the oven for X amount of time until it's done, and then you're going to take it out, and then you can sort of enjoy. So when we're doing that, it's like you got to look at your life and say, where is it out of balance? Where do I feel really strong and confident in my life, and where do I not? You know, and is my health taking the hit? Is my, you know, finances taking the hit? Is my relationship taking the hit? You know, what is it? And health for me, I really think it's your relationship with yourself, which then basically, once you change that, you change everything, because how you do anything is how you do everything, right? Yeah. So are we able to take those components and then be present as we walk through them in a gestational period? Just like a pregnancy, it's like there's the quickening, and then there's the growing, and then finally when it's ready, it's delivered. And then you can, you do this over and over again in your life. So one of the things is, you want to check out, again, what are the sections of your life? Just be able to look at them and say, what do I really want help with? And this is all an internal process. You don't have to go and tell the world about this. I'd really like to change that. That's all. And then if you have a meditation practice or something like that, you just align with it every day. And you say, I'd really like to change that. Because that's what I did, frankly. I was like, I would like to change it. Instead of thinking, I got to make the plan and the action before I'm aligned with it, right? So you're aligning with the process. And the next thing you know, you do meet somebody who's the perfect fit for you that's going to help you, right, with your health. It could be a chiropractor, a holistic health, doctor. It could be anybody, right? And they give you a component, and then there's more people that give you more components. So it's a really beautiful way to just say, let me see what I want to change, and then see how I'm going to align with that and bring that solution towards me instead of continuing to look at the problem. Give yourself a break, And when you're doing that, it's like, what is your definition of confidence? Because what your definition of confidence for even your physical body is going to be different than somebody else's level of confidence for their physical body. Okay? And again, it's not about comparing yourself. And I did a video a couple weeks ago now about that. And it's definitely something you should check out if you're interested in that. So have some grace with yourself, align with it, and then the information will come. and the information will come and it'll feel like, oh, that looks easy or that looks good. It's not like, oh no, here's another thing I got to do. It's like, no, I want to align with this because I think it's going to get me to the point where I actually think I want to go. And it's graceful and it's gentle and it's powerful. And that's where our personal power is always. So the other thing I want to say is that, you know, on a spiritual level, is that we are always having whatever is happening for us at that time. It is always happening specifically for us. And if we are able to have the tools to align with those things and identify them, read them like, say, a book, read them, understand the language, and then interpret them, understand them, integrate them into our being, then that is ultimately the equation for success in anything that you do. So it's just something to think about. Also, this other thing came up. I know it's a little choppy today, but you know, years ago I was coaching this woman, and she was very skinny, blonde woman, beautiful. I mean, men would just like, they would go, if she walked by. And I mean, I really liked her as a person, but I also felt like, wow, must be nice because I don't have that experience. And you know, it was just a thing that I thought about. And I remember she was having a serious issue in her relationship, and I'm coaching her on this. And I was trying to, you know, discuss with her these concepts of, you know, becoming aware of yourself and doing all these things. And she wasn't going to do that. But basically she's like, oh, I do that already. I fake it till I make it. And I was like, because to me, I hate that. I hate it because it's not who any of us are. It's not about faking your life. It's about learning who you are and what your needs as a woman really are, and then meeting your needs. Emotionally, physically, you know, mentally. And I know it is, you know, these things. It's like, oh, well, that's really nice, but how do I do that? You know, and if you're interested in help, you know, Cindy and I are here. You know, you can personal message us. You can, you know, you can ask us about our program, Invincible, you know, the Successful Woman's Guide to Relationships, Manifestation, Transformation, and Manifestation, because those are the three big ones. You know, let me heal my relationship with myself, reclaim my spirit, and heal the grid, and then move on. Move on and start to say, you know, I'm not going to be afraid to create anymore because I'm not going to be devastated if I don't get it. And I'm also going to be masterful in that process. So if you have any questions with that, you're welcome to message us. Or if you're having, you know, just certain things that you were confused about, you can message us about those too. And lastly, I just want to announce that we're going to have a special guest next Thursday who's a holistic health coach. And I put a poll out that just very generally said, you know, what are some things that you struggle with? And I want to really get some really defined questions for her. So if you could fill that out, it'd be helpful. And I think you can also add in the comments or to the poll other issues that you might be struggling with relative to your health. Because again, my story is really focused on my weight. There's other people that have other stories, most definitely. But it all comes down to creating a homeostatic condition in your body where when you feel calm and peaceful and you take actions from those places as a powerful woman, see what I mean? That's where it is. It's nice and easy. Okay. And then that's where, when you're working on yourself, you realize that when you do, if you have fatigue or procrastination, they are directly related to resistance to doing something forward focused. And that's where we annihilate that stuff. I mean, it's just fantastic. And so, so if there's any, you know, questions or comments, you can leave them in the feed if you're watching this live, or if you're going to watch it on the replay. I want to thank you as always for being a part of this group and bringing your energy into it. And again, if there's other aspects you want me to talk about, Thursdays I'm going to have focused videos or on health, you know, posts or videos, whatever floats my boat. But so yes, leave them in the comments. I really appreciate you so much, and I love you so much, and I will be seeing you very soon. Okay, and remember to fill out that poll. All right, bye. Thanks, Cindy.